Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I just wanted to welcome all of you to the Montfort Academy's 10th annual Gala, celebrating our 15th year in classical education. Thank you all for giving me the opportunity to speak tonight. Thank you, Colonel Petrillo, Secretary Greco, distinguished faculty, students, parents, and benefactors. I am Joe Brusstar. I'm a junior at Catholic U in Washington, D.C., but more importantly, I'm an alumnus of the Montfort Academy class of 2014. I remember during my... Oh, thank you. Thank you. So during my freshman year at Montfort, we had a priest named Father Paul, and we were in Mass one day, and he told this story about how he saw a lady in the back of Mass while he was giving a homily, and she was holding a sign that had 4 letters on it, and it was the word KISS, K-I-S-S. And he thought it was a little odd, so after Mass, he went up to her and asked, what the sign meant. And she said, "Keep it short, shorty." So with that advice in mind, I'm going to just briefly give a reflection upon my experience in Montfort, what I learned at Montfort, and then I know you're all anxious to enjoy the excellent food of the Marchetti family and listen to the rest of the speakers and the great Joe Battalion, the New York Band. So I will try to be brief and just share a brief reflection upon from my experiences at Montfort. So when I look back upon my time at Montfort and consider what I learned, the words of Warren Carroll come to mind. It's truth exists, the incarnation happened. These two short statements, truth exists, the incarnation happened, could be considered the foundation upon which the Montfort Academy is founded. The Latin motto of our school itself reads, "Instaurare omnia in Christo," to establish all things in Christ. Another line you'll hear, especially around Colonel Petrillo, is that Montfort is a place where the mortar matters. The common theme among these 3 lines is the establishment of a foundation, an anchor, if you will, upon which one could proceed to engage in learning. However, not only is Montfort a place of establishing a strong foundation on the shoulders of the ancient Greeks, the Romans, and the very best of what antiquity has to offer, but it is also a place where one learns the importance of building good, strong friendships with our classmates and our teachers, and reflecting upon our actions from experiencing the culture in Naples, the history of Monte Cassino, the grandeur of Rome with Colonel Petrillo and Mr. Di Fiore, to studying Latin, astronomy, philosophy, and mathematics in the classroom. These are some of the key ideas and subjects that are basis of education at Montfort. In class with Dr. Leibowitz, one would be asked what Socrates meant when he said, "The unexamined life is not worth living," or what Aristotle meant when he said, "Man by nature is a political animal." These are the thoughts of a culture that pursued knowledge for the sake of knowledge and that engaged in learning for the sole purpose of learning. Now, one might say, well, what is the importance of that? How can knowledge of such ideas land you a job, or how would you quantify what you learned? In 1850, William Gladstone, who was serving as England's version of the Secretary of the Treasury, was touring the laboratories of Michael Faraday. And Faraday was experimenting with electricity. And Gladstone asked Faraday what was the usefulness of his experiments with electricity. And Faraday is believed to have said, "One day, sir, you can tax it." It was out of this laboratory that Faraday invented the electric motor, which transformed England and helped usher in the industrial age. It was this laboratory and others like it that changed the world. What inventors such as Faraday and others were doing was pursuing knowledge for the sole purpose, for the sake of knowledge, instead of focusing on trying to profit in the short term. However, this was not a novel idea. The ancient Greeks understood the value of pursuing knowledge just for the sake of knowledge, of learning what is good, what is true, and what is beautiful. In the movie The Passion of Christ, Pontius Pilate kept asking his wife, Claudia, "What is truth?" And she replied, "If you do not hear the truth, then no one can tell you." At Montfort, you learn, at the very absolute least, to be open to the truth and open to the pursuit of knowledge for the sake of knowledge. And one can argue that this approach to education yields creativity, innovation, a sense of accomplishment, and ultimately happiness. When I started at Montfort in 2010, there were around 50 students enrolled in the school. When I graduated, there were around 85. Now, there are over 160 students at Montfort. This rapid growth is a testament to the attractiveness of a classical education, to the hard work of Secretary Greco, Colonel Petrillo, and all the dedicated faculty and parents of Montfort. This evening is for all of you. It is a chance for you to sit back and enjoy the fruits of your hard work. And I hope you all just join me in a round of applause for all the parents, Colonel Petrillo, Secretary Greco. In these remarks, I've mentioned a little bit about the appreciation for the teachers that I had while at Montfort. In a moment, you'll have the opportunity to meet and hear from a few of them during a brief film. But before we go to that film, just brief words from one of our founding fathers, Benjamin Franklin. It is said that Franklin used to carry his money around in an asbestos purse so that his money wouldn't burn a hole in his pocket. Well, we all realize that that's not very practical, especially not tonight. Because tonight I hope that the asbestos wallets were left at home, that you enjoy the rest of the evening's exciting events, and just the band and the dancing and meeting all the students. But now we'll have a short video from some of the Montfort Academy's great teachers.